In this example, we assume that the scores on an English exam are normally distributed with a mean of mu equals 77 and standard deviation sigma equals to 5. We're going to find about what percentage of scores were above 87, and if 50 students took the exam, approximately how many students scored below 72. To find what percentage of scores were above 87, let's consider the distribution under the bell curve. So we know it's a normal distribution, and for any normal distribution, the mean is in the center of the distribution. So we have the mu, which is 77, is in the center. We also know that if we add one standard deviation to the mean, so we have mu plus sigma, that is 77 plus 5, the result is then 82. So we have that mu plus 1 sigma equals 82. If we add another sigma to this value, meaning we have mu plus 2 sigma now, we have 77 plus 2 times sigma, which is 5. And the result is 77 plus 10, so that is equals to 87. 87 is the given score that we have to analyze. So looking on the other side of the curve, due to symmetry, we have the following. So if I subtract mu minus 1 sigma, that would be the value. And if I now subtract 2 times mu from sigma, I have another value. Now, mu minus 2 sigma and mu plus 2 sigma, meaning is the interval that is in the range of 2 standard deviations from the mean. And we know by the empirical rule that the proportional values between these two is 95% of all values. So 95% of all values are between these two by the empirical rule. Therefore, if I want to know how many of the scores were above 87, I have to look at this proportion right here. So to find what's that proportion, we have that under the normal curve, all the scores in this distribution correspond to 100%. So 100% minus 95% of all data values will be above and below 2 standard deviations from the mean. So we have that 5% correspond to all values on the left side, this piece, and on the right side, this piece, together. So to find out only what is on the right side, meaning above 87, I have half of 5%. So 5% divided by 2 equals 2.5%. So now I can conclude that about 2.5% of all scores were above 87. Here we're gonna find out what percentage of students took the exam, scored below 72, and apply the percentage to the number of 50 students. So again, let's assume that the distribution is normally distributed, and we know that the mu 77 is in the center of the distribution. So we have that the mean is 77 with sigma of 5. So if I subtract from the mean 1 standard deviation, I get 77 minus 5, so the result is 72. And 72 is again the score I should be considering. So this is 1 standard deviation to the left of the mean. So what if I refer again to the empirical rule? The empirical rule says that about 68% of all students scored 1 standard deviation within 1 standard deviation from the mean. So to find out what's the percentage on the left of 72, again, we rely on the distribution that we know that all values together correspond to 100%. So if we take from everything, which is 100%, the amount of values that are within one standard deviation, that is 68%, we get that the result then is 32. So 32% of all scores will be either located here or here, because in the middle we know there are 68%. Everything else has to fall either on the left part of highlighted in red or on the right part highlighted in red. Now, because of the symmetry of the normal distribution, we know that the same quantity falls on the right and the left. So if you divide 32 by 2, we get 16%. So 16% correspond to the amount I have on this side and the amount that I have on this side. So we can conclude that 16% of 50 students scored below 72. So to find out exactly number, we take 0.16 and multiply by 50. So the result is 8. So 8 students scored below 72.